The night my wife and I decided we were going to shut the coffee shop down, I remember feeling relieved. And that probably sounds crazy because we were about to lose everything. But the bleeding was finally going to stop. What I didn't realize was that closing the business wasn't the end. It was the beginning. My name is Michel Casista. I lost $163,000 on a small town coffee shop. And ever since then, I've been trying to figure out what actually make small town businesses grow. Last week, I told you your business is not different. The principle still applies. Today, I want to talk about the lie I told myself for almost 2 years. We were almost 2 years in. Things had been tight for a while. We were behind on rent. We were hoping the next few days of sales would save us. Hoping. That word still makes my stomach turn. Because hope is what you lean on when you don't know what else to do. One afternoon, my wife told me if payroll was today, we wouldn't even have enough money on a home equity line of credit to cover it. The credit card were max. We were behind on rent. We did what you're supposed to do. We went to the bank. We had great credit. We had never missed a payment. We weren't gamblers. We were just trying to build our business. I remember sitting in that meeting, feeling hopeful. The tone was positive. We were being treated like real business owners. But the next day, the call came. Denied. Not long enough in business, he said. We were mad. He was polite, professional, but the frustrating part was this. The reason they denied us was exactly why we needed the money. We hadn't been in business long enough. That was the whole point. That kind of rejection doesn't just hit your wallet. It messes with your head a little bit. So my wife went looking for another way. She found one of those online lenders. You know the ones. They approved us in 24 hours for $30,000. And when you're drowning, that kind of speed almost feels like rescue. At least until you slow down and actually read the terms. My wife started reading the agreement to me. And then she got to the part where they were taking 3% off every sales automatically before we even touched the money. Off the top of our debit machine. Every single day. I remember thinking, how the hell is this supposed to help? We already don't have enough cash flow. Now they were going to make it worse. But payroll was tomorrow. So we took it. We caught up on rent. We paid the staff. We paid the vendors. And then the money ran out. And we were right back where we started. We just kept doing the same thing, hoping next week would be different. Looking back, I don't know what I thought was going to change. That was the moment I should have realized something. There wasn't a loan big enough to save us because money wasn't the problem anymore. We didn't have a system, a way to consistently bring customers in, follow up with them, and get them to come back. I knew that, and I still didn't do it. My wife's depression was getting so bad that her doctor finally told her she needed to step away from the business. So we sat down one night and we set a date. If we don't sell by this date, we're shutting it down. I don't really know what I felt that night. Some of it was relief, like at least there were going to be an end to this. Some of it was terror, because I knew we were going to have to start making calls to every vendors, every person we owed money to. And this part was going to be on me, because I wasn't going to let my wife do it. I put my big boy pants on, even though I hate talking on the phone. I didn't want her to suffer any more than she was already suffering. Here's the part nobody talks about. The business closes, you think it's over, it's not over, it's just the beginning. The collectors start calling, the vendors wanted their money. I was making those calls one at a time, trying to protect my wife, tried to keep her away from the worst of it. And in the morning, before I went to the mill, I'd lie there doing the math. Could they come after the house? Could the stress cost us our marriage? What happened if I can't fix this? Those were the mornings, 2:40 in the morning. And the worst part was the people around me. They just thought the coffee shop closed. They didn't see the years that came after it. For years after that, I didn't tell anybody about any of this. Not because I was embarrassed of failing, because I thought failing disqualified me. I thought you had to have some kind of success. I thought you had to have the success story first. I thought you had to have the business everybody look up to. I thought you have to have everything figured out. Then you got to talk. And I didn't have any of that. I had a death story and a morning alarm. And one morning I was up in the ladder in my shop, putting insulation in the wall. I had a podcast playing, one of my favorite. The guy said something that just stopped me. God doesn't call the qualified. He qualifies the called. I'd heard that saying before, but this time it landed differently. That was Ed Mylett. Then he told a story about his dad. His dad had been an alcoholic and tried to quit hundreds of times, but nothing stuck. And he said the only person on the planet that was able to help his dad was another alcoholic. Not somebody who read about it, not somebody who studied it, somebody who lived it. I had to stop what I was doing. I had to put the insulation down. I couldn't multitask through that. I never can. It was like my hands needed to be still so my brain could actually hear it. Then I heard another one that hit me just as hard. Your mess becomes your message. That was Garrett J. White. He wrote the foreword for Expert Secret, Russell Brunson's book. And it all hit me all at once. I kept hearing the same truth. It's like God kept sending me the same message to a different person. The hardest part wasn't finding the answer. The hardest part was finally deciding to do something with it. I wish I could tell you I changed overnight. I didn't. I spent years learning before I started moving. But this one thing I do know, that's when I realized maybe the thing I've been trying to hide is actually the thing that can help somebody else. I finally understand why I lost everything. I found the answer. I just found it too late. There was nobody to point me in the right direction. That's why I make these videos. After the coffee shop closed, I became obsessed, not to understand why we fail, to understand how to succeed. I started reading everything I could get my hands on. Books, podcasts, courses, mastermind. That's when I found Russell Brunson. For years, every time I met another small town business owners, all I wanted to do is grab them by the shoulder and shake them and say, please, go do this challenge before you end up where I did. The One Fall Away Challenge, $100, 30 days. It changed the way I looked at business. And the $100 I spent on that challenge taught me more than the $3,000 the previous program wanted to charge me for the next level. Not because Russell's magic, because the principles were clearer. The implementation was simpler. And it was built for someone exactly like me. Not a tech genius. Someone who could follow instruction. Today, if another small town business owner asked me, where should I start? I'd point them somewhere different. Because Russell has adapted those same timeless principles to the biggest shift small town business owners are facing right now. And before you roll your eyes because you hear AI, that's exactly what I thought too. But what impressed me wasn't another AI tool. It was seeing timeless marketing principle become practical for a one-person business. I started the AI Secret Challenge, and I was watching Russell demonstrating what he calls the one-person marketing machine. I stopped what I was doing. I just sat there thinking, holy shit, this is exactly what I needed when I owned the coffee shop. Of course, it didn't exist back then, but if I would have had that, that would have changed everything because we couldn't afford a marketing employee, and I didn't think I could do it myself. I don't have a crystal ball, but I honestly believe things would have been very different if I would have something like that. One person with the right system and AI can now do the work that used to take an entire marketing department. The internet changed business. Social media changed business. Now AI is changing business faster than ever. And that's exactly why the principles matter more now, not less. Because the tools change every year. Human behavior doesn't. Most small town business owners are already wearing every hat. Sales, payroll, ordering inventory, customer service, closing, cleaning. So marketing become this thing you know you should work on, but it keeps getting pushed to tomorrow. Russell Brunson AI Secret Challenge is what I would point someone towards today. If you want to see what it is, the link is in the description. And yes, it's an affiliate link. I just wanted to tell you that up front. As I'm recording this, the challenge is still free. I don't know if it'll always be the case, but if you're curious, go have a look. If you know a small town business owners who need to hear this before they end up where I did, share this video with them. This is the conversation nobody in your town is having. If this story sounds anything like yours, subscribe, because everything I'm sharing on this channel, I wish somebody had shared with me before I lost that coffee shop. And next week, I want to talk to you about something I see in almost every small town business owners I know. The trap nobody warns you about until you're already 10 years deep. You work harder, you stay later, you tell yourself it's just a season, but nothing changes. If that's you, you don't want to miss next week. Most small town businesses are playing the reset game. They open, they hope they survive the next week, and Monday comes and they start over. The ones who break out are not smarter. They're not luckier. They're not in bigger towns. Somebody just finally showed them the blueprint. That's what this channel is about. If that's you, you're in the right place.